welcome everybody to episode 4 of Captain Zach's interviews. We're here with Ian Hanson this evening. Looking forward to finding out his stories about triathlon and who's inspired him. I'm sure he's got some interesting stories to tell. So without further ado, let's hand over to Ian. So thank you, Ian, for joining us.
No, thank you. No. Any opportunity to talk triathlon, that's it. I quite happily talk to anybody about it.
Brilliant. We're even in for a good one then. So if we can start with, how did you get into triathlon?
It's my wife's fault. Well, it's her and Jackie Dixon.
I knew Jackie would be in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, they're my other two. They're my two wives. You see, they're my two triathlon wives.
Okay.
So they did their first triathlon in 2010, which was Emberton Sprint, and I went along to watch it because I wasn't interested in triathlon at all. I'm a cyclist, and I thought, this is stupid. Why would you want to go swimming? I just don't get it. And running, oh my god, why would you want to run? It's mad. And I went to watch them, and basically it was the kit. I saw all the stuff that everybody had, and I thought, man, I can now have 3 lots of new toys. So I can get obsessed about wetsuits, trainers, and bikes. So, and then they told me to go to LBTRI because it'd been going for a few months, and there was an advert in the LBO, and they said, you've got to go, we're not going. You need to go and check it out. And I went down there, and there was Colin, Diane, JC, and about 5 people all in the reception of Tidders, and we just went for a mad run. I haven't run for forever, and I don't think I could walk for about a week afterwards. But then I just love it. I just got into it. I just thought the idea of doing 3 sports was just ace.
Oh, brilliant. I love the fact that Catherine and Jackie get the blame and they push you into the triathlon club so you can test the waters, and then they can join.
They were too scared. Don't go there, they're all going to be really fit. Well, I don't want to go. You go.
I can imagine that. I can imagine that as well. That's exactly how it happened, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was.
So thinking back to that very start then, obviously that was the beginning of your journey, but it's kind of, or how you got into it, but what was the sort of beginning for you in terms of your first triathlon? Or
first triathlon, which seems to be the same for a lot of people, Blenheim. Because I went to watch Catherine and Jackie do that one, and I just loved the atmosphere. I just thought, for somebody doing their first ever triathlon, Blenheim Sprint was just awesome because there was no egos. There was no, people were doing it on shopping bikes, and it was just all about the experience, not how fast can I go, what's my time, and trying to outdo the next person. It was seeing how well they could do, and I found that really inspiring. And I signed up for Blenheim in 2011. It was my first ever triathlon, and I was crapping myself because I'd never done an open water swim ever. First time I'd been in open water was at Blenheim. I mean, I got told by the Channel 4 guy who was there doing the filming, because it was a really hot day, and I was desperate for a wee. I was absolutely desperate for a wee, and he could see me bobbing around on my feet like a small child, and he said, "Oh, just go in your wetsuit," and I was like, "You can't go. This is wrong. This is all wrong." And I was so new to it. I think my swim was, it just scared the living bejesus out of me, the swim. I loved the bike because it was on closed roads, and I could just hoon it on the bike. And the run, I just clung on for my fingertips going up and down that hill. So but I loved it. I loved my first one, and I've done Blenheim 3 or 4 times since.
Oh, have you?
Still love it.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah. I mean, it's the funny thing is, when you look at pounds per time on the course, it's more expensive than an Ironman. Oh. But it is fantastic. It's just one of those races that I just loved it. I just love the atmosphere. I love there's families there. There's no willy waving, that type of thing. It's just go there, and it's just good fun. It's just really good fun.
I wondered, obviously you did that quite early doors, after being with the Triathlon Club for a little bit, and I was just wondering if that same atmosphere still remained the same when you have repeated it again. So it's nice to hear that it's still the case.
No, definitely, because it's just it's so big that you get lost in it.
Yeah.
So it's not, you just, there's just wave after wave of people doing it, and especially for your first one, you don't get pointed out. It's not that, oh, look at him in transition on his own, putting his trainers on, because nobody's got a clue where they are, because there's about 50 other waves all going off at the same time. So it's I loved it.
Well, I'm impressed that your first triathlon was an open water triathlon. That's pretty impressive. The first time
you know better. You know better. But I've gone back. Yeah. Well, yeah. If I'd have thought about it now, definitely been a pool one. But no.
Yeah, I started slowly but surely. But anyway, enough about me. So, what's your favourite training session that you like to do? What would you choose?
See, I found this question. This is a real tough. I love it all. There's not one thing I don't. I love training, and this is something I've discovered in the last few years. Is actually, it's the training which keeps me going. It's not the races. I actually couldn't give a stuff about the races in some way, and like what we've got at the minute with being cancelled.
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me. It's that doing something every day to make yourself a little bit better.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, if you get to do a race, you get to do a race. If you don't get to do a race, look at all this stuff you've learned. So I actually love just the training. I love the swimming, because I don't really like the swimming. I love the swimming.
Yeah, tell us more.
Well, it's always been this is going to be one of the other questions that coming out. I always find swimming really tough, because it's not an amount of effort that you put in. It's a technique thing. And I'm not a natural swimmer, and I have the whole on sinky legs thing, and I've been to coaches, I've been to everything, and it has improved, and I have got faster, and I've realised that it's all actually about economy and actually being efficient, and that way you can have a really good triathlon, because it's about swim, bike, run, and that goes back to what training is. I love it all, because it's swim, bike, run. It's not swim, bike and run. It's swim, bike, run. Yeah. So I actually love it all. I love the running. I love cycling. So, and the variety is brilliant. I never get bored. Never ever get bored. I'm always tweaking stuff. I'm always bunging in some odd sessions. I love reading training books and watching websites and going on webinars and learn about as much as I can about it, and I just love that each day doing something to make yourself a bit better.
Yeah, oh, that's fun.
And at the end of the day, if you've got a race, you get a race, but it's that incremental getting better, which I think is the addictive thing about it.
Yeah.
I think if you just want the races, then you'll always be disappointed. You're sort of doing it for the wrong reasons in some ways, because we don't get paid to do this. You've got to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can enjoy the training, then you've got it, haven't you? So
if I could pin you down though to one favourite training session, would it be the bike, because that's your sort of forte, that's your background, that's where you're from, or would it be a run session, or would it be a swim session?
It probably would be a bike session. So I'm doing a load of stuff at the minute with force intervals, where you are doing max power but low cadence force. So 1 minute on, 2 minutes off, 1 minute for like 10 times, with a 70-minute ride at the beginning and a 60-minute ride at the end type thing.
Yeah.
I love all that. I love trying all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's probably the cycling's the one thing that I don't ever go, ugh. When you're a bit tired and you just no. But then I can't think of one session where afterwards I thought, oh, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Can think of loads of reasons beforehand, but afterwards, no. Every single session afterwards, you always go, whatever happens, whether it was good or bad, you go, but I'm really pleased I did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would say cycling's my easiest one. I never have to push myself to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's fab. Thank you for letting me pin you down on that one. What's your most memorable or your sort of most favourite race?
Well, my most memorable is got to be my first ever Ironman. So Bolton, the first one I did, because I hadn't really got a clue what was going on, and it was just awesome. Just the atmosphere. But I would have to say my favourite ever race is going to be is Bedford Olympic.
Oh, right.
Which was the last one of my 20s, with all the club there, and just finishing that and knowing that was the last day of the 20 triathlons and doing it as a race. And I just let rip. I just went as hard, because I thought, I don't have to do this anymore. I've done 19 other triathlons, and now I'm going to do this one. And I just went for it, and I had one of the best ever races I've ever had. It's the fastest Olympic I've ever done.
Oh, that's fabulous. I'll tell you what, I was really hoping in this interview that you were going to mention the 20 Olympic triathlons and that great achievement. I was really hoping that you'd mention that, because that was just absolutely awesome, you know, from start to finish. But to finish it in the way that you've just described sounds brilliant.
Yeah, it was great. That whole experience and it wasn't. It was lovely. All I had to think about every day was doing a triathlon. And it was great. I just loved that sort of like just wake up, oh, I've got to go for a swim bike. Admittedly, I was trying to do work as well in between it, which was interesting. But yeah, it was doing it with everyone. Like you coming along that time, we did at Box End, and you came in, and me and you swam in the boating lake, didn't we?
Yeah. And then we went out on the bike, didn't we? I think.
And then we went out on the bike, and Simon came out, and it was just. That was the best thing about it, was everybody else coming along as well.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome. It was just a great experience.
It was brilliant.
But Catherine keeps saying I've got to do 30 in another 7 years' time. She's having a laugh.
You got plenty of time to practice. You said you like practicing. You like training.
Yeah, I'm not sure my knees are going to take it. I think my body will give out before I do that.
Well, we'll see. We'll watch this space.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as you're such a seasoned triathlete, then what would be your favourite piece of kit, or the piece of kit you couldn't live without?
So, a piece of kit actually for a race or training or anything like that would be a decent pair of cycling shorts, the most expensive pair you can afford.
Yeah.
Don't ever skimp on cycling shorts. But as an overall bit of kit, it's probably my foam roller and my physio bands. I've really got into using those in the last few years, and realizing that as I get older, having do that every day, once or twice a day, keeps me injury free and relatively injury free, and it means I can train every day without breaking down. So yeah, my foam roller is probably the one bit of kit I probably couldn't do without now, which sounds ridiculous, but yeah, on a decent pair of cycling. If there's one thing anybody can buy, just buy some decent cycling shorts. Spend some money on some nice shorts.
Yeah, I can understand why. Yeah.
Because you're going to spend a lot of time in them. And then chamois cream, some decent chamois cream.
I was going to say decent chamois cream, definitely decent chamois cream. So that brings us on quite nicely then to what's your best triathlon top tip?
This is a difficult one. I would say, I'm going to get all deep and meaningful now, is to be really patient and become sounds really dull, process orientated, not outcome orientated, and just enjoy the process of getting better every day. and just putting on your shoes, your swimming stuff, or getting on your bike, and just be really patient. It takes a long time. I think we're so used to having instant results, and we don't see where people have come from. You know, like we see people at the car, you get new people come along, and they see what people are doing. They go, oh man, do an Ironman, or you're doing this, or an ultra, or whatever. But what a lot of people don't realise is the years and years of stuff people have done to get to that point. And I don't think you want to rush it. I think just enjoy it. Just, you know, it's just be really patient with your body and improving, and patient with your building of experience and how you improve. And that way you stay in it for longer as well. Because we've all seen the one and dones that, you know, oh, we'll do an Ironman. And they do one, and it's flipping hard, and they break up with their other half because of the amount of training that they've had to do, and they never come back again. So, you know, it's be patient with it. You know, and Ironman's not the be all and end all. As much as everybody would like you to think it is, it's not at all. It's just something to aim towards and spend a long time aiming towards it.
It actually comes full circle to what you said at the beginning, really, because you know, an Ironman is all about the training. So actually, it's about that journey. It's not about the end result. Yes, that's great. Here you go and do it for the day. But actually, it's all about that training journey that you were talking about
exactly
earlier.
And it's being consistent. You got to do, and it's the same with any fitness goal that you have. It's doing a little bit of something every day. It's not about smashing it and doing one session like really well. It's just about doing all the little things really well, day in, day out, and being able to do it almost every day. That's the key thing. Is you know, too many people try and smash it, or they do the easy sessions too hard, and so then the hard sessions they don't do hard enough, and they end up in this sort of like training quagmire of knackeredness and tiredness and in injury. So it does take a long time, but you've got to give yourself time to learn it and get used to it and know what happens to your body and you know, how you deal with different conditions and everything else, and you've got to do the groundwork and just be patient.
And through all that, I mean, what's coming across so much is your passion for the sport, for what you're doing, for your training, and you know, that's coming across loud and clear. And actually, you know, that's one of the important things that's threaded all through you know, whatever training you're doing, really, isn't it? It's
exactly,
that motivation.
Exactly. Well, that's going to be that if it goes back to that, what enjoying it, doing it. We've got to do it because enjoy it, because there's going to be days when it's chucking down with rain and it's horrible out, and oh god, I really don't want to go out in this. Don't want to go out and run in this. But actually, when you come back, you feel good for it, and you know, it's you got to have that motivation, that passion for it.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that feeling that you're making yourself better. You're doing something to improve yourself a little bit each day.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you for that. So we've talked about top tip, but what would be the one thing you've learned not to do in a race?
It goes back to the big thing of nutrition, especially in long course. Do not think you can wing it on the day. You have got to have some sort of plan, and you got to have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. I thought I knew it all when I first started of nutrition, because I was a cyclist and I'd raced competitively as a cyclist. But you chuck in a run after you've done a bike, it's completely different, and with a swim before it as well.
Yeah.
And it's taking, and I still haven't got it right. I still I still tweaking it, and you know, it's never. And I think that's the thing as well. Is it's never going to be perfect. It's the best that I can do with it. But you've just got to practice nutrition, and then that's where I've cocked up a load of time in races.
Yeah.
Is I've just, you know, got to the middle of the run and gone, oh my God, what has happened here, and realised that, you know, my tank is empty, and but it just takes a while to do it, to learn how to manage yourself and get it right. But I still haven't got it right.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's different for everybody. Nutrition, not one thing works for everybody. So you just got to try it.
But Catherine's good at making cakes, though, isn't she? So you're
Catherine's ace at making cakes. Yeah.
So that part's sorted.
Catherine's ace at making cakes, and yeah, we like to have a little sandwich. Yeah, I think when I first did my first Ironman, I think most of my bike weight was food, and most of that came back with me. That's the thing that got me, was I took all this food on a lovely moving buffet around Bolton and brought it all back to the transition with me.
Brilliant.
I never used it. I just used it as ballast going up that hill.
That little hill.
That little hill.
Yeah. A little bump in the road.
Exactly.
So we've talked a little bit about it. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about sort of the challenge that you've found, your sort of nemesis. You've touched on that slightly. I don't know if there's anything you want to expand on or add to that.
It's still swimming for me, but it's in a race situation, and it's something that I really battle with. Is a start of a race, and having that people around me. I still struggle with that. I'm getting better, but it still freaks me out sometimes. Having that sort of washing machine, and I think it's just about having that self-talk and then realizing that people aren't trying to hit you or bash into you. It's just because there's people around you, and it will soon be over within 5 minutes. It's all. Well, no, what I mean is it all spreads out within 5 minutes. You're fine. But that has been. But I'm getting better at that. But that's still the one thing that I don't think you can't really train for it. It's only in a race situation when your adrenaline's up and recognizing that this is going to happen. So.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because when you think everything that we've talked about so far in terms of training and how much you can practice and how much you can learn, I think you're right there. That it's not something that's very easy to practice. I know with a couple of our mass swim sessions on a Thursday night previously, I think a couple of coaches have had a go at trying to practice that and that whirlpool effect and so forth. But like you say, in a race situation, you've got the adrenaline on top of that as well.
Yeah, and then triathlon's odd, isn't it, though? If you think about it, it must be one of the only sports which you only actually do when you do the race. It's not like a bike, you know, I can go out and practice. It's you know, but if you want to go and play golf, you go to the golf course and you can, you know, practice it. But triathlon it's only when that gun goes off you actually know whether all the stuff you practiced is actually any good.
Yeah, quite.
It's an odd one. It's an odd one. You know, we don't go out and race a triathlon in a tri club, do we? As a practice,
no. But maybe we should. Maybe we add that to the coaching, Paul Williamson.
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
Right. Chaos. That'd be chaos.
So obviously you've been doing triathlons for a while now, so there must have been somebody or something that sort of inspired you and that's influenced you the most. You've said you'd like to do a lot of reading and, you know, watching webinars and things like that online, so is there something that you could pick out?
I'm going to sound really yuck now, but inspiration wise is going along to the tri club and seeing everybody, and coaching a swim lane is just like biggest thing. But for me is seeing how everybody else is doing and seeing what you guys are doing, and that's probably my biggest influence and to keep me going with it. But as in other coaches, I probably dip into more different people than anything. So things like Matt Dixon, Purple Patch Fitness, who's a British coach based in, I think he's based in San Francisco. I like his ethos, his methodology. So it's all about building triathlon training into your life, not your life around triathlon training. Okay. So I like what, you know, I like the way his methodology tends to work. But I think you get inspiration from lots of different places. I love listening to podcasts. So C26 podcast, which is the Iron, trying to think of it now, I've gone straight out of my head, but C26, they're a good couple of coaches. Again, American coaches, and it talks about more life and how triathlon can affect your life in a positive way and blah, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's lots of different things. Yeah. I probably sound a bit woolly with this, but I'm probably not swayed too much by one thing or another. I try and make my own decisions, and I like to try and soak up as much as I can. So I'll go off on one, learning about certain methodology, and then apply that little bits of it to my training and people I coach. But it's lots of different things. Well, mainly it's the Tri Club, to be honest, because there's so many times I've been a bit bloody triathlon, tired of it or whatever, you know, because you're just tired. And you go along on a Thursday night, and I'm coaching a swim lane or something, and I come away from it feeling fantastic. I feel like energized, and it's just because of the people there, really. Same with going on a bike ride on a Sunday. I haven't run with the Tri Club for ages, just because I tend to work a bit late on a Thursday. But I get a lot of inspiration just from that, really. And that makes me want to try and find out new stuff, just by talking to people like Colin and Paul and you know, all the other coaches. Brian, being next to Brian in the swim lane, you can't help but feel infused and excited.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, well, you've answered the next question then, really, you know, what your favorite thing is about coaching. It's great to hear, you know, you've got such an interest in the sport and in coaching, and you go away, find new things, and then bring that into what you're doing. So
yeah, I think it's the whole, with the coaching side of it, it's the whole way that it affects people's lives, and how a positive thing it is. Because it's not just swim, bike, run. It's everything. You just see people's confidence. They change. They become more confident. They become more happy. There's no downside to it. You know, it's just such a positive thing. Yeah. You know, and it breeds that happy sort of place that then goes. It's infectious. Yeah. You know, you only have to speak to Andy Keane for 2 minutes, and he gets you to sign up for ridiculous races and things like that. I mean, I get Garton dragging me along doing Brecker events and things like that, you know.
You're easily talked into things, Ian, aren't you? From Catherine and Jackie.
Yeah, exactly.
Garton,
yeah. I like to blame everybody else, but really, I'm just as bad myself. I'm just as bad as everybody else.
Well, on that happy note, then we will call this interview to a close. Thank you very much for everything that you've shared. It's been really interesting, and I hope everybody who is going to be watching this is smiling as much as me after listening to you talk. So thank you very much. I'm going to
thank you, Georgie.